Welcome back to B-Side Banner. This is episode 10, and I am here with Mike T. And super excited to have you on, Mike. And I've been following you for a while. You do a lot of music review, music commentary, and primarily TikTok, right? Or you're obviously
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
on Instagram and all the other places as
yeah,
well.
I'm on all platforms, Twitch, YouTube,
Yeah.
TikTok, but TikTok is like my biggest platform.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm super excited to have you on. Maybe just give us just a brief, like, what do you do? What do you like for music? Whatever you want to say.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I mean, I just do a lot of reviews of albums,
Mm.
reactions of albums, and just a lot of other music like related discussion, things that are happening in the music world, news related stuff
Mm.
sometimes as well. All that, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And for Twitch, do you do like live? Like, are you kind of doing like new music release day live reactions? Is
Yeah,
that what you do on Twitch?
Yeah, so every Friday we do Music Friday where we listen to all the new singles, and then usually at the Thursday before that, like midnight, we'll listen to whatever biggest album drops on
Mm.
that night. And yeah, some others like streams here and there too, like tier list rankings we'll do. We'll go back when we're in my chat and I will listen to older records for like anniversaries, stuff like that.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, and that's a lot of work to do that. You're gonna be up late every Thursday night,
Yeah.
especially depending on.
Yeah, I definitely am. I definitely am. Yeah.
But that's the name of the game. We've had definitely a few people that are kind of in that same vein of like, you know, monitoring and reviewing what's coming out, new music and stuff, and that's just how it is. It's great if you live on the West Coast because, music comes out early. It's
And I
not as
don't,
great
so
if you're on the East
it's not
Coast.
great. I've gotten used to it at this point, but
Yeah.
yeah, I do lose some sleep sometimes. I do lose some sleep sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, especially for the really big releases, and if there's, like, a couple come out, like, you'd be up late, like, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. It's crazy.
Yeah, usually I keep it to on the midnight releases, just one album, biggest album for that night. Then the next day I'll do
Mm.
the other records. But yeah,
Yeah, okay. No, you're brave because, I there was a point I was living I'm originally, from Canada, and we were actually on the East Coast of Canada, which is Atlantic time, which is an hour even earlier than Eastern. So when I would, try to stay up for new releases, they would come out at 1, which is so wild.
yeah. I remember back in the day. I don't know if you remember this, but it had to be like early streaming days, like 2017.
Mhm.
Albums would release like an hour, like your time. Like they would release at
Yeah.
11, at least in my time, EST,
Mm.
11 p.m.
Yeah, yeah, I do remember that. That would be nice to go back to that, but I don't know.
It would be.
And now with social media and everything, it's like you can't give it to somebody earlier than another, or they're gonna they're gonna spoil it for everybody. But um, yeah, let's go through some. We had some really good releases kind of come out in the last few weeks. And maybe
Yeah.
let's just go through a few of them. The big one that I
Okay.
know a lot of hype has been around is the new Black Country New Road album, and I did watch
Yes.
your reaction to that, and you enjoyed it. Give us a little bit
Yeah,
of
I loved
maybe
it.
explanation for that, like what really stood out. I know a lot of people were looking, they were basically really excited for it. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I think going into it, the biggest question was what the new vocals and what the new writing with
Yeah.
Isaac Wood out of the band, what it
Mhm.
would be.
Yeah.
I think when they did that live album a few years back, they showed that they still got something like there. Like
Mhm.
there's something there with the new vocalist and the writers. Um and then I heard the singles and the singles started coming out and I started to worry less because every single they were dropping was
Yeah.
just fireworks. It's just kind of wild to me that um the new vocalists have just been kind of put in the back and the wayside for so long because
Mhm.
I think they got great voices. And don't get me wrong, I love Isaac Wood. I think he
Yeah.
had so much character. I think his writing
Mhm.
style was super weird. Um, but I think like range wise, a lot of the newer girls are killing it. Like
Yeah.
they can sing, and they still have like really great storytelling with their writing
Mhm.
too. Like there's several tracks on this new record where the storytelling is phenomenal.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I expected the production on the record to be fantastic, but that was just like the biggest question going in, and I think for the most part, they killed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that they kind of provided for the fan base. It's always really weird when there's a transition like this for, like, people that are fans of the band because, like, you'll get some people that are like, "No, like, I'm gonna like them no matter who is, kind of leading or whatever," but then some people are very much so like, "I I can't I can't listen unless it's Isaac Woods or whatever." Um
Yeah, I think the reaction to the album has been a little bit like polarizing for some Black Country New Road fans, from what I've
Mhm.
seen.
Yeah.
Um, I get people are big Isaac Wood stands, and I am too. But look, it's no ants from up there. But
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting them to surpass that record. I mean, that's one of the best records of this decade so far.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I thought it was a great start to the new era of the band.
Yeah, totally. And, yeah, I think it just kinda gives some good hope for people that were really nervous, just wondering what's gonna happen. But yeah, it's one of the it's a tough I think it's just a tough pill to swallow when, you have somebody that you've really kind of grabbed a hold of and really appreciate and, appreciate the vocals, the writing, all that stuff. It is a hard pill to swallow. It's a tough transition, especially with a band that's so like new. Like it's not like they're that old. Like some bands have,
Yeah,
have transitioned their front man or front women before and it's been several years into them doing what they do. But yeah, this was relatively new, so I think it's good news for them that there is such a good reception. I think critically, this album did very well. I think most people
yeah,
enjoyed it critically. Whether or not the fans like it, obviously that's a different story. But I think for the most part, it seems like they did.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely certain people that do the comparison to the last record, but
Hmm.
I just think they're in a a different place. Like,
Hmm.
I was just, I think the storytelling on this album, like, is just as good, if not better, than some of the stuff on the previous records. Like the track,
Yeah.
let me just pull up the track list real quick. The Nancy Tries to Take the Night. The
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
storytelling on that song is like heartbreaking.
Yeah. I agree.
I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
if
really good.
you like dug into the songwriting and all of that one, but
I
um,
definitely like I pulled up the lyrics for several of them, that was one of them. Yeah, I agree. I thought that was a very
yeah,
good song. Yeah.
just like the story of like this girl who's like I think obviously pregnant,
Mhm.
um, and her just like taking this long night thinking whether or not she should end her life. It's
Yeah.
dark, man.
Yeah.
It's dark.
Yeah. Yeah, it is dark. And unfortunately, like, I do think, like, when you're doing storytelling in music, those are the tracks and the songs, the dark stories are the ones that captivate people most than, something happy or whatever. But, yeah, I thought I was not really, like, a stan of Black Country New Road. I've appreciated most pretty much everything they've put out, but I honestly thought, like, this was really good. This is good for them, good for the band. I think yeah, like, it's coming from an album that is just, like, amazing. I think that this is
Yeah.
a pretty good step because, in all reality, even if, like, would they be able to outdo that album ever? Probably not. Yeah,
I mean,
that's a tough one.
yeah. I'm not really a big fan of comparing records like that so
Yeah.
much. Like, not every record has to be better than your last. Like, you can still put out a
Mhm.
great record.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree. Well, let's go from a good one to a potentially not great one. Let's talk about Will
Okay.
Smith's new record.
Oof. Oof. Yeah. You want me to
What,
start
like,
on this one?
what even why? Why is he even wanting to do music? Like, this is what's so weird to me is that, like, was there any point where he would have ever just been like known as like an artist? You know what I mean? Like he's always been an actor and then did music kind of on the side. Like
Well,
maybe
yeah, I
I'm
mean, look, I mean, I don't think like Will Smith is like one of the best lyrical rappers or anything, but I do think his importance to hip hop it is very important.
yeah,
Like
it's
the
true.
stuff he did with Jazzy Jeff early on, I do
Mhm.
think he has an importance for hip hop and where it would go on to be. Obviously, he won like the first rap Grammy ever.
Yeah, true.
So
Yeah.
that's big. And I mean, he had maybe had some fun songs here and there. I never like thought any of his work was like crazy or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I just think I just think it's been so long. I think it's like his first album in 20 years.
Yeah. It's
Uh
crazy.
and with everything going on with like the Oscars thing from a few years ago,
Mhm.
maybe this is just where he's just like not into acting right now. And
Yeah.
one thing I'll say about this album is I think passion went into it. Like I don't think I thought he tried and I thought there
Yeah.
was some heart that went into it.
Mhm.
I think the issue is he was listening to way too much Eminem, way too much Joyner Lucas.
Mhm.
Um, and it came across not only like really derivative almost, but pretty corny. It came off pretty corny. Like
Yeah.
those weird preachy interludes that he does, like I just can't take him
Mhm.
seriously.
I know. It's
The
so
voice that he puts on those songs is hilarious.
yeah, like I think that's where it's so strange to me because it's like he's trying to incorporate his acting career into this music, which that's okay.
Yes.
That's fine. But like I don't think I think for the most part, I know that if we get into his acting stuff, like I'm not going to try to offend anybody. I know that he's had some serious roles and he's like done a pretty good job in serious roles.
Yeah.
But like I think for the most part he's kind of just been known as like a goofy character. Like somebody that is just like kind of funny, a little bit of like and obviously that comes from his role at on Fresh Prince. Like,
Mhm.
how do you kind of get out of that stereotype and typecasting that when you're on a show that long and you've become such a staple in like pop culture, and it really felt at times like just really unusually silly. Like to me, I was almost thinking like, what if like this feels to me like what if Nicolas Cage made an album? Like he would probably incorporate some of his voices on there. Like I was like, what is he doing? Why is he
Yeah.
doing that?
Nah, it came off very goofy. And I don't know, like I think Will Smith has had a lot of great serious roles. Obviously,
Yeah, he
I
has.
think he's pretty really versatile when it comes to his acting.
Mhm.
Um
Yeah.
it just did not work when he tried to incorporate it throughout this record.
Yeah.
And especially that intro track, um it was just so unbelievably cringe. Like the whole cancel me. It just sounded like something I heard off Eminem's last record.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was one line too that he had on that song, which is hilarious, where he's like, "You're only relevant because of your kids." Which, look, I like Willow a lot. I think she's super
Yeah.
talented.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying that. Nobody is saying that.
Yeah. 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 Maybe he's getting too involved in his own like drama and like where it's like I don't know, man. I feel like you're not like this isn't a thing. Like I don't think like like you said, like there's lots of people that love Willow. Um but yeah, is that I don't know. I guess maybe I'm not in that discourse enough, but when I heard that line I was like I just didn't think that
I'm
this
telling
was a
you,
thing.
nobody's saying. I don't think one person has ever said that.
That's
I don't think one
yeah, I
person
don't
has
know.
ever said that.
Yeah. Man,
uh,
it's a tough thing, like, he like, obviously, as an actor and as a public figure, he's been in the limelight a lot, but, like, they, as a family, have done a lot too, like, they've had their kind of, like, reality TV series and,
yeah, that
like
talk show thing. Yeah,
yeah, and then, like, there's just been so much that that family and Will obviously specifically has like put himself through and I feel like you said, I feel like there was passion in this album. Like he was
mhm,
trying to say some things, but you're like, I don't it just all really fell flat. Like
yeah,
almost like he wasn't like aware that like who his music is going to or something. Like you're kind of like, I don't know, you seem unaware of who your audience would be, and like I don't feel like people are trying to cancel you. Like obviously the whole Oscars thing was a tough go, but like I don't know. It just seemed really weird.
Yeah, I just think he felt. I think it. He sounded really old throughout this whole album. Like it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
sounded. This was like some old head rap. Uh,
Mhm.
and I also don't think he really knew what he wanted to do because there were like some elements of this that were like gospel influenced, and then a little bit like of trap stuff. And
Mhm.
then there's the one song where he does the reggae thing, which is like a
Yeah, and then he
song
goes into The Voice
awful.
too. Yeah.
Yes, which I blame Drake for that. Like I think I
Mm,
blame Drake for that. I
yeah.
think if I think he was listening to a lot of Drake,
Mm.
maybe Meet Your Madre came into his head, and
Yeah.
he just kind of was doing what Drake did. And when he started doing the ting, when he started saying the
Oh,
ting,
man, yeah.
yeah,
That's
no, it
so
was bad. It was bad. But one thing I'll say about this album though is while I do think it was pretty bad,
Mhm.
I can't say I wasn't entertained. Like I was
Yeah.
entertained listening to this. I listened to it on stream,
Mhm.
and me and my chat had a lot of fun listening to it. I will say that.
Yeah.
Like it's bad, but I don't think this is gonna go down as one of the worst albums of the year.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I'm sure some people will say it is, but yeah, it might not kind of get that recognition. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, no, probably it will probably end up on some worst album of the year's list, but I'll probably disagree with that. I don't think it will
Y
end up on mine by the end of the
yeah.
year because there's some
Y
awful, unpassionate stuff released every year. So
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah,
one thing I'll say
exactly.
about this is at least there was some passion that went into it.
Yeah, yeah, he was trying. He was really trying. But yeah, it's kind of like to me, it felt like he wasn't really fully aware of his audience. He wasn't really fully aware of like even though he maybe has been listening to some of the stuff that's been being released lately, like it's almost like you said, it was old head rap. Like it was almost like he's not aware of what like the trends are and maybe not capable of like making something newer. Like, you know what I mean? And at that point,
Yeah,
it's like unfortunately for somebody of his caliber, like nobody's gonna be like, don't make this, man." Like, it doesn't sound that
and it's
great.
tough for him too because a lot of the stuff that he came out into the scene on musically with, it's just a little outdated too. So like
Yeah, yeah.
he's just kind of doing stuff that he's been listening to.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
it was hard. It was definitely a hard album to take seriously.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, it's anyway, it is what it is. It's Will Smith. I don't know, do you think people actually had, like, high expectations for the album? Like, I feel like there wasn't a
No, no,
ton of that. I think
I
most
don't
people
think
were
so.
kinda just like, "This is gonna be
Yeah,
weird."
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't think much people had high hopes for a Will Smith album in 2025.
Yeah, for sure. What about the new, Lucy Dacus album?
I liked the new Lucy Dacus album a lot. That was one where like I'm seeing like pretty lukewarm reception and reviews on, and
Mm,
I'm a bit confused as to why. I've been more of a fan of the Boy Genius stuff
yeah,
than Lucy Dacus's solo stuff. I did really
sure.
like her last album, and I think all her solo projects have been good.
Yeah.
Never really like loved them, but I mean she's an excellent songwriter.
Mhm.
Has a sweet voice too, and you know how she blends like alternative rock into her music. I think is cool.
Mhm.
I don't know. It just felt like other Lucy Dacus records, songwriting just as quality, production just as good. I just think
Yeah.
this time around she was in love. She's
Yeah.
writing about being in love.
Yeah. And maybe that's, like maybe that's why maybe people are like, "Your songwriting isn't as good when you're actually, like, positive and
I
happy."
don't know, maybe. Yeah,
Like,
maybe
I
more
don't
like
know.
being sad all the time, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like if Taylor Swift all of a sudden just stopped making breakup songs, like, people would be like, What is this?" Like, I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. I'm not I excuse me, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I'm not a huge, like, specifically Lucy Dacus fan. Like, I think of Boy Genius, she would be the person that I would have been following the least, of the
Interesting.
3 of them. Um, and but at the same time, I was like, "Yeah, this sounds good," obviously, songwriting, storytelling, that's those 3, have just such a unique quality of being able to just always be on with that. Like, they very rarely miss when you're thinking about that. And that's what made Boy Genius so great is you have three people that are really just amazing in in that genre doing those things, and they all came together. Um yeah, but I think maybe to me, like, I just felt like there weren't a lot of moments in it where I felt like it was exceptional. I think just overall just felt really, like, kind of, like, just consistent, which is not bad.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah, it
guess
was
if
consistently good.
yeah. But I just feel like maybe, like, if you talk about the highs and lows, like, there weren't really any lows, but there weren't really any
Yeah.
highs to me, at least. Like, that's
Yeah,
kinda
I
what
mean,
I thought about it.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree
Yeah.
with that. I think one thing I always love is that all the solo members always find a way on their solo records to put each other on a track, which
Yeah,
I
it's
always
true,
love.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, that
Um,
is good.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I think it was solid. It was good. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how much I'll return to it this year.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, if you're like a Lucy Dacus fan, I will say like it's not doing anything like super new or innovative for her
Yeah.
sound or anything like
Yeah.
that.
It's pretty
But
con it's consistent and, like, pretty much the same as what she does other than, like, what you said, that, this time she's in love and writing about it, so
yeah, so yeah, the writing is it's a in love record. She's in love.
yeah, yeah, and I think a lot of her fans, like, I've been seeing a lot of her fans, like, really enjoy that, which I think is good.
Yeah.
It's
I
nice
think
when
most
you
of the general like Boy Genius fans are loving it. I think it's just like the
Oh, yeah.
music nerd
Yeah.
people that are like
Yeah.
kind of just like whatever on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It definitely anybody that really enjoys Lucy or enjoys, at that genre at all, like, I think they've all really appreciated it, and I think especially, like, Boy Genius or Lucy fans, I really appreciate kind of this different tone, which, I'll give them that. I enjoy the tone of it. I thought it was good that way. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good vibes.
Um, and what about the I've never it's Joe?
Yes, Joe. Yeah, Joe.
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 The D is silent. Um,
Yeah.
I have never figured out. I'm always second guess myself when I go to pronounce their name, but um, they put out a new album. Also,
Yeah.
like, interesting. What did you think of that?
Um, I'll be honest. Maybe this won't get me into some hot water. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. I
Yeah,
thought I thought it was. I listened to it. I was like, this is just Julian Casablancas. This is just the Strokes. Um,
yeah.
I think it was produced pretty decently, but
Mm,
it's. I mean, this whole like indie New York sleaze thing is really making a comeback
mhm.
recently. And I don't think there's anything wrong with wearing your influences on your sleeves. I think
Yeah.
every artist has obvious influences, but I don't know. There was just nothing stand out to me here.
Mhm.
Vocally, not all that stand out. Some of the writing at points was like there was this one song I can't remember which one, but there was like a bridge area where he's just like counting. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It was so weird. Wasn't really big on the second track on this record either. Just so obviously Julian Casablancas.
Mhm. Yeah.
uh, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, man, with these Netflix led or because he's from Stranger Things, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So like these Netflix led bands, this and the Wallows, man. Like I'm just not understanding the hype. And I
Yeah.
did really like that one song that he had, like the song that made him kind of blow up. I forgot the name
Chicago?
of it. It's like when I'm back in Chicago. Yeah.
Is
I
it
actually
just
did like
called
that track.
is it called
I have
Chicago?
no idea what it's called. I don't
End
know. I'm gonna
of
be honest.
Beginning, that's the name. End of
End of beginning,
Beginning.
yes.
Yeah.
I did think that was a great track.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, this one no, not terrible.
Mhm.
I just don't think there was anything super stand out about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've really been, like, a huge fan of them at any point. Like you said, like, and, like, I liked End of Beginning or whatever that track is called.
Yeah.
I usually just say Chicago because that's, like, the only line that I remember, and that's, like, the
Yeah.
that's, like, the audio on TikTok that you hear.
Yeah, yeah, that it did go
Um,
super viral on TikTok.
yeah. So, like, yeah, I think they've had some decently catchy tracks that they've put out. But I feel like they just don't know their identity super well. Like, and kinda like
Yep.
what you're saying, like, yeah, your influences, will show at some point. Like, they're going to show, but it's different when you just feel like it's almost, like, copycatish as opposed to, like, just kind of yeah, having kind of that poke through, and so to me, it really feels like they don't fully know their identity in, like, just the sphere, the genre they're in, like, they haven't really carved out anything unique, I don't think.
No, no, I agree. And it comes down to, if you're gonna take all your influences, how you make you stand out
Mhm.
in any type of way.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I'm not hearing anything yet. I mean, it is only their second record,
Mhm,
so things can change. Things can
yeah,
change, but uh, again, not a terrible record, but did nothing for
mhm.
me. Did nothing for me.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't it really did not, stand out to me at all, and it is funny, like, yeah, like you said, this whole, like, Netflix, like, banned people, like, I don't know if you saw that, I think his name is Finn Wolfhard or Wolfgang or something.
Yes, yeah, I did. I did know he was in a band. I've actually never. I don't think I've ever heard his music.
He, like, put out a single, I don't know, it's been maybe a few weeks, maybe even a couple months, I don't remember, and I was like, "Man, what is going on?" Like, I didn't really find it all that amazing. I kinda liken it like, do you remember when Michael Cera, like, put out music? Do you know the actor
I
Michael
I
Cera?
I don't think I've ever heard
Arrested
it, but I
Development?
do know. I do know what you're talking about. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. No, I,
and
I
it's
know Michael
like
Cera, of course. Yeah, great.
it's like people like I think you get the kind of like Michael Cera cult following people like in the same way that you get like the Stranger Things like diehards. They like follow these people in these bands and they're like, "This is amazing. This is so great." And then everybody else is kind of like, I don't get it. Like what? I don't understand." Like it kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Like obviously with Joe, like at least they're kind of becoming a little more mainstream. Like with the I listened to like the Finn Wolfhard or Wolfgang or I don't remember his name.
I think it's
I listened
Wolfhard. Wolfhard. Yeah.
I listened to his single, I was like, "What in the world?" Like, it's not horrible, but I was like, "What?" Like, why do you why do you have to also have this? Like, you're an extremely successful actor. Why do you also have to like be an artist? Like, not that you
Yeah. Well, I
can't
mean,
be both.
honestly, yeah. No, I don't think this is like a Disney Channel, like Nickelodeon thing going on with them. Like, I think
Mm.
most of them have probably been making music for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but they just use the Stranger Things cosign to
Yeah.
kind of boost up the music career, and it's been, to their credit, it's been really successful. Another one is the Wallows, which I mentioned before. I
Mhm.
think like the lead singer of that group was like the main character in 13 Reasons Why,
Yeah.
that show back in the day.
Mhm.
And they're
Yeah.
huge, but their music is so boring to me. uh I don't
Yeah.
get it.
It's unremarkable for sure, and
Yeah.
I think the like you said earlier, both the Walls and Joe, they're that's just what it is. It's unremarkable, and it feels like they're kind of just using the platform that they've gained from the shows they've been on, the acting careers that they've kind of carved out, and you know, I guess whatever it is, what it is, but it makes it tough to like. It's hard when you have bands and artists like this that are kind of finding this success because of their platform before that has nothing to do with music, and then you've got artists that are, like, really great and having such a hard time breaking through at all. It's like
Yeah.
it's frustrating.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just
It's
the
the
music
game.
industry,
It
unfortunately.
is.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. It's
And
all
there's
about,
been,
you know,
look,
what you
there's
know.
been, maybe there's some other Netflix people off the top of my head that like I like, but the same, you can say the same thing about like Disney and
Yeah.
Nickelodeon.
Totally. Yeah.
They've they've built up some great artists,
Mhm.
and they've built out some pretty bad ones too. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's true.
it's just the name of the game, like you said.
It is, yeah, it is the name of the game for sure. Yeah, at least, like, I think like, at least with Disney, like, they were putting out, like, musical type stuff, so, like, they were kinda like, these people were actors, but or actresses, but also, like, the whole
Yeah,
point
that's
was
true.
that they sing.
That is true.
They
They
can
sing too.
sing,
Yep. Yeah, the
and
Disney
then,
Channel
like
original films. They're
yeah.
like musicals. Yep.
Yeah, it's
That is true.
so that's an interesting one too. They've definitely put out, obviously some big time artists. You've got like Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez,
Yep.
Jonas Brothers. Like there's obviously some huge artists that have come through Disney Channel. Um and maybe Stranger Things is like the next one to start pumping them out. Maybe everybody on Stranger Things is just going to start a band and
So it seems. Listen, I don't mind as long as the music is good.
yeah,
So
it's true.
far,
Yeah.
not much coming out of it.
I don't have this on the list, but did you have any thoughts on the Selena Gomez Benny Blanco album?
When it comes to Selena Gomez, I don't she is someone I don't think has a lot of passion for music. Like I just
Yeah.
don't think she does. I think music for her is more like a money thing. And
Yeah.
and maybe that's just from what I'm hearing. Maybe I'm totally wrong and she
Mhm.
actually does love what she's doing. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've never found Selena Gomez's music to be interesting. I've never thought her voice was
Yeah,
very good at
she doesn't
all.
have a very good
Obviously,
voice.
she's not really involved much in the writing process of things. Uh so yeah, one thing about that Selena record is I will say the Benny Blanco production I think was pretty solid.
Mhm.
But she's someone that's never had a personality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
every song on that album, it just sounds like she's doing an impersonation of someone else to the point where she's straight up just getting those artists to like write on their songs. Like there's a song on there that's literally it is just a Charlie XCX song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Phineas, I believe, is on like the opening track or something like that, and it just sounds
Mhm.
like a Billie Eilish song.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of the Marias had a track on there
Mhm.
too. And it was just a Maria's leftover is what it sounded like. Some
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
inspiration in there too. Like
Yeah.
it was just it just lacked a personality that album. It
Mhm.
wasn't the worst thing I've ever
Yeah.
heard. It was listenable, it was tolerable, but
Yeah.
um yeah.
I think I don't know if Benny Blanco did this intentionally. Obviously, I'll never know unless I were to talk to him about it, but I felt like I heard way more auto-tune on her voice than I ever had in any of her other albums. Like I don't know if maybe I was just I'm not like it's not like I've listened to a ton of Selena, but it was exceptionally like it was really obvious on the track with Gracie Abrams that I was like when it would go from Gracie and then back to Selena, I was like, man, the auto tune on her voice is out of control, like
Yeah.
almost to the point where it's like
There was
yeah, again,
another
I wasn't
there
sure
was
if that was
another
intentional.
There was another track on there, like, it was one of the I don't even remember at this point, it's been, like, weeks since I listened to it, but it was, like, one of the last tracks at the end where, like, she hits, like, this vocal fry on the Auto-Tune, and it sounded awful. I wish I
Mm,
remembered the track. But I don't know, I feel like Selena's always kinda used Auto-Tune like that because she's never
yeah,
been a great singer, so,
yeah, and
I
again,
know
like I
some of her
said,
biggest, like, electronic pop hits from the
mm,
early 2010s. I mean, every pop song during that time was using a bunch of Auto-Tune with, like, the
yeah, totally,
EDM
yeah, yeah,
electronic crossovers that were going on at
yeah,
that time.
yeah, it's true, and maybe it's because like I do think this album, like, they were trying to kind of remove it seemed, from, like, these big pop, like, hits, like, other than some of the singles, like, it felt like they were trying to, like, lean a little more into, like, singer-songwriter stuff, and maybe that's why it felt more obvious, like, that because, that singer-songwriter style is pretty obvious when somebody's voice is heavily auto-tuned because, you're trying to strip down the production as much as possible, you're trying to make it really simple, but yeah, I thought it was interesting. Are you like a big Benny Blanco fan, like, in terms of his production, his
He has so many big hit
he has,
songs.
yeah,
I
it's
know he's been
crazy.
involved in production for so many big songs.
Yeah.
I like some of the stuff he's worked with SZA, right? I think I like some of the stuff that he's done with SZA.
I'm sure he has. I'm not a
I don't
huge,
know.
like he
No, he
he's
definitely has. I
done
think on his last couple, I think on SOS and the last record, he was
yeah,
with SZA.
he's definitely done, like, his early
But
stuff.
I know he's worked with Ed Sheeran a lot, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm not a big Ed Sheeran guy.
yeah.
I'm
When he did
sure
a
that
lot
if I
of
look into his credits enough, there are some songs I enjoy. But
yeah, he's done a lot of Maroon 5 stuff, which is tough
yeah,
for
the
me.
Maroon 5 stuff is pretty awful, pretty awful,
But yeah,
pretty awful.
he's done a lot. He's done a lot. Um, I've like it's hit or miss for me, I think, with Benny Blanco. I think overall, like, he's a pretty good producer, but, like, I feel like there's some songs that I'm like, "That was really great," and then other songs where I'm like, "Whoa, like, what is this?" Like, But it's also interesting, like they've kind of like opened up this big can of worms now. I don't know if you're like keeping up with the whole like Selena, Justin, and Haley like drama.
I've seen some of it. I think it's so ridiculous,
It
man.
is.
I think it's so ridiculous.
I don't.
I think people need to
Chill.
get a job.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like I get it's like a lot of like of the biggest stands, super young audience, but man, people are
Mhm.
just way too invested in something and like reaching for the moon on stuff too. I don't know,
Yeah.
man. It's just I
Yeah.
personally I just don't care. Like I do not
Yeah.
care about these
I
celebrities'
know.
relationships. I don't.
I know. I don't know. Like, yeah, it's so weird. Like, because I felt like it felt really forced at first. I was like obviously I think most people were like, "Oh, I think Selena's writing a little bit about Justin Bieber," but it's always
I
hard to
know.
know if this is like some weird ploy to like get back into the front of like conversation for like Selena, for even like Haley or Justin. Like I don't know, it was
It's
just
just
so
it's so
weird.
interesting to me too because she could be writing about anyone because she's had like so many
Yeah,
exes. I think
yeah,
after like
it's
she
true.
dated the weekend. Like she dated the weekend at one point.
Mhm.
Uh, but I don't know. I just don't care enough about that. I listen to music. Music was boring to me, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was not great. Um, all right. Well, let's. What about the Saba No ID album?
Yeah, honestly, I think the Saba, God, that album got delayed forever. Like that was supposed to come out so long ago,
I
and it
know.
just kind of it was like kind of just a weird random release drop.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think it's maybe my favorite rap album this year. Maybe. I mean,
Wow.
to be
Yeah.
fair, so far the competition hasn't been too wild. We're still pretty early
Mhm.
on to the year. Nothing like super big has dropped yet, but
Mhm.
I liked it a lot, man. I definitely liked it more than his last record.
Yeah.
I thought No ID's production was really solid,
Mhm.
and it complemented Saba really well. And I thought Saba was sounding really hungry, like
Mhm.
rapping his ass off on every track.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
storytelling
Yeah.
on a lot of these songs. So much energy coming through. Cool feature appearances as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really liked this record. I really liked it.
Yeah. And with all the delays like that's what it's nice when you have an artist that you're really anticipating this record, they delay it a bunch, and then you feel like this was actually good. Like they kind of provided. Um, I saw that you weren't a huge fan of the Playboy Cardi album, so like that would be like an
No,
example
no.
of somebody that delayed an album forever and ever and didn't really provide. At that point, like I feel like there's
Yeah.
no winning when
Yeah, I
when
mean,
you do
lucky
it
for
like
me,
that.
that wasn't an album I was anticipating being
Yeah.
good or even caring for at all.
Yeah, yeah.
So luckily, I wasn't as disappointed as maybe some other. I mean, I don't even think fans are disappointed by it. I think they like pretty much anything he drops. He can drop
Oh, they
anything
absolutely
and they'll
do.
eat it up.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, I was anticipating. I think it lived up to the hype for me. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I thought so too. And I would agree. I think I just felt like it was just a great performance by him. Like he really felt like he was putting a lot of passion and effort into it. And I really enjoyed No ID's productions. And I felt
Yep.
like this was just, his typical greatness kind of thing. So it just felt like a great fit for the two of them and they both kind of ate on it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's nice hearing from No ID because he doesn't really produce for as much people these days, unfortunately. Because I
Yeah.
think he's like one of the all time greats.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Definitely.
man.
Yeah.
Um, so many highlights on this thing, man. How to Impress God. The
Mm,
writing on there is
mm,
phenomenal.
yeah.
Really dug the track with Kelly Rowland too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Thought that one was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Uh, Head Wrap, I believe, was a single, but it was such a poetic song.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of highlights on here. Oh, and what was that one track? West Side Bound, banger,
Mm,
banger,
mm.
banger,
Yeah,
banger.
like, and I guess that was, like, the other thing is, like, it's always tough in hip hop with, like with features and stuff, like, I don't know, sometimes it's not a good fit, sometimes it's not great, but I felt like all the features I don't think there was one where I was like, this was a miss, or like that, like, you know, they just weren't working together. I felt like all the features were really good.
Yeah, I think it
Good
was cool. I
selection.
think he, for the most part, brought on like a lot of Chicago. Like a lot of these artists, I'm
Yeah.
not too familiar with.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of Chicago artists. Aaron Allen Kane, I think I'm familiar with her. Obviously, BG, the Chicago kid. Jordan Ward's been killing it for a little bit now.
Mhm, mhm.
I didn't even know Smino was on that final track, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely, it was a bunch of people that, like, I probably maybe knew, like, maybe a third of them, but overall, I was like, yeah, I thought that whoever was, you know, getting these features on it, did a really great job of kind of just pairing it really well. Um,
Yep.
yeah, so, I was impressed. I was impressed by it, and I wasn't like, I don't know, I guess I wasn't really like, I enjoy Saba, but I wasn't,
Yeah, I'm
like,
honestly.
waiting for the, you know what I mean? I wasn't I almost forgot that it was still, like, happening, and then I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
wow."
it's been like years since they announced this, and honestly, I think I've never been like the biggest Sabbath fan. I think Care
Mm,
for Me is really great,
mhm.
but I was not big on his album that he put out after that, the follow up to that one, all that much.
Yeah.
Um, but I think what really just excited me about this was the fact that No ID was involved, and
Yeah, yeah,
I
totally. Yeah.
and I think it's a good pairing. Hopefully, there's more from this.
Mhm,
It says
mhm.
it's the from the private collection of Saba No ID. So I mean, hopefully there's more stuff
Yeah.
from them because I wouldn't mind if these two came together and dropped some more music together.
Yeah, that would be awesome. It would be amazing. I'm sure, like, every artist is doing these days, they'll have a deluxe. It seems like every artist is dropping their album, and then
Maybe
a
I don't
month
know.
later, there's a deluxe.
Yeah, yeah. There were some like singles that they were putting out prior to this that didn't
Mhm.
actually even make the record.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think the
Yeah,
only
I've heard
song
them.
that was a single was the Head Wrap track. I think
Yeah, I don't even
maybe
remember the
maybe Axe 1.5
yeah, I can't
two,
remember the
but
singles. I'm so bad with song
oh, How to
names
Impress
too,
God
though.
was a single too.
Mm.
Yeah. But Back in Office was one that didn't make the cut.
Okay.
Human Nature, that was
Oh,
another
yeah.
one that they did together, didn't
Yeah, I
make the
forgot. Yeah,
album.
yeah, yeah.
So there's a few.
Huh, yeah. Hmm. Maybe there's gonna be another album, maybe we'll just let those ones sit. Who knows?
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Um, alright, well, let's pivot a little bit. We've
Oh,
got a couple, like, song lists we can go through. You gave me
okay.
some of your, like, favorite artists, which, like, honestly, I love your list. So you've got Kendrick
Thank you.
Lamar,
Yeah.
Charlie XCX,
Yep.
Frank Ocean, Fiona Apple, and Bjork. Like,
Yep.
that
Yep.
that's a pretty solid list. It's definitely very
Yeah.
diverse.
I'm not gonna lie, I had a hard time coming up with artists. I'm just
Yeah.
and when the albums too you sent me, I was like, man, I think I wrote down more than 10 because I just like I didn't know. And
Hey,
there was
that's
probably a
totally
bunch I
fine.
forgot too. I think it was a bunch I forgot too. But
The
yeah, I
albums are tough.
mean, uh, I think those artists in particular just like really shaped kind of my music taste for the most
Mhm.
part.
Yeah.
Um, I think Frank and Fiona are like two of the greatest songwriters to ever do it. I just the
Yeah.
way their songwriting emotionally just captivates me.
Mm.
They do so like no other artist. Björk is just one of the most has one of the most unique voices I've ever
Yeah.
heard in my life. And
Absolutely.
she's also
Yeah.
like a total weirdo, which I love. And with
Totally.
every record, just the ability to innovate herself and the
Mm.
longevity she's had.
Yeah. It's
Um,
crazy.
and Charlie is just, I think, one of my current favorite pop artists. Probably my favorite current pop
Yeah.
artist.
Yeah, she's killing it, and especially, like, now that she's basically, like, able to do what she wants to do. Like, obviously, some of her early stuff, there was a lot of control by her record labels and stuff, so, like, you got, like, Boom Clap, which most people are like, "That
Yeah,
was, like, one of the worst songs
yeah.
ever." But
Yeah, I mean,
then
I
you've
think Boom
got,
Clap's
like
a banger. I think Boom Clap's a banger, but
it
her
is.
earlier stuff definitely it was what it was for the time. I don't
Yeah,
think a lot of it has necessarily aged the best.
yeah,
Um,
but, yeah, the
there's still
stuff
a
she's
few
putting out
bangers here
now
and there in the first two records.
the stuff she's
Yeah,
putting out
oh yeah.
now is just, like, amazing, so good. Yeah, so many
Yep.
people like Brat was a cultural phenomenon if it was anything.
Yeah. I mean, for
Um,
someone who's been like a fan of Charlie for so long, um, yeah, I mean, I never expected her to have that type of mainstream success, especially because the
mm,
music that she makes isn't necessarily like safe or
yeah,
super like even with how big of a record Brat was, it's not like an album that was getting super like a lot of radio play, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe like the Billy song, maybe, but still, like
yeah, the tracks
most
on
of her
it
music is
weren't
not
really.
accessible to like the normal pop listener.
Absolutely, yeah. I would agree with that. Um, another I want to, like, kinda touch on a couple of your, albums that you have on here. First of all,
Mhm.
My Chemical Romance, The Black Parade,
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
I
Yes.
haven't met a lot of people that would put that on the list, but such a good album.
I mean, Gerard Way, another one of my favorite voices ever.
Mhm.
Um, the blends of like theater and rock and
Yep,
on that album, like the string arrangements,
yeah,
and the concept of that album
yeah,
too. I think the opening track on the record is maybe one of my favorite opening songs to any album ever.
yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
it's pretty phenomenal. I have always been.
yeah, classic.
I guess to me, I haven't always been just strictly a My Chemical Romance fan. I really like them, but The Black Parade was like eye-opening to me for a lot of reasons. But that was an album that I feel like I'll never. Like, I guess, yeah, I don't know, like, there's some albums where on first listen, it's like, I wanna go back and be able to listen to this album for the first time again, and The Black Parade is that for me, for sure. I feel like it's just so well done, um, and yeah, it's definitely one of the best, but yeah, I appreciated that. I saw that and I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah,
nice."
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
I don't see that a whole lot.
yeah.
Another one.
I tried to add a little bit of versatility to the list too,
Yeah.
because there's so many like great hip hop records I probably left off that list too, and but I
Yeah,
tried to
well,
get like a little bit, try different genres. My favorite albums from certain genres. So yeah,
yeah, no, I appreciate it for sure. The other one, that I was like it really resonated with me was Radiohead In Rainbows. So obviously you think
yeah.
that's their best album, which is
I think that's their best album. Yeah, I've always said that.
that's a pretty hot take. If you were to discuss that with some Radiohead stands,
Yeah,
they
I
probably
mean,
would
I
be a
know
little
most
frustrated.
Radiohead fans are like okay computer people, and
Yeah,
I think it's great too. I think it's probably my
yeah,
second favorite if I had to pick one. But I
mhm,
don't know. I just always I've always dug the emotion and the songwriting more
mhm,
on
yeah.
and the production style a lot more on In Rainbows. But to be fair, it is very close. Like I think it's very close.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's probably my favorite of theirs as well. Like,
Nice.
I feel like for sure it's definitely, like, the album that's stayed the most relevant from their discography. Like, I think OK Computer is great, but, like, some of those sounds are, like,
I
kind
totally
of
agree with
getting
you.
a
So
little,
a
like.
little bit aged, a little bit
Yeah,
aged. I totally agree. I think this
yeah.
one is production wise, sonically, the most timeless.
Mhm, absolutely. I'm a big, like, Kid A fan. That's
Yeah,
one of
he's great too.
probably
Yeah.
my second favorite, but again, it's aged a little bit, like, and it's hard to say that for Radiohead because they, like, changed, and influenced so many people that we listen to now, but,
Yeah.
like, that's just how it works when, some of that stuff just doesn't age as well. Um so let's go through. I'd love to get some of your 5 favorite songs of some of these artists that you said are your favorite. Do you have a 5 favorite songs for Frank Ocean?
Yeah, so I did write this down. Um just pull it up real quick. Um okay, so I do want to give a shout out to one. I'm not counting this in the five. And
Okay,
this is not in any particular order, by the way, because this
sure.
is way too hard.
Yeah, that is
But it's
really.
actually an unreleased Frank track. It's
Oh,
an
okay.
unreleased Frank track, and I have known about it since it kind of got like leaked or whatever.
Leaks. Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm not someone that listens to leaks. I'm not like usually for that.
yeah.
However, it did so, and I was aware of it. It's actually a track
Mhm.
that's produced by Kelvin Harris too.
Oh wow,
Uh,
interesting.
but I actively avoided it for a
Mhm.
while, but then a few weeks ago, it had popped up on my YouTube, and the
Mm.
temptation kicked in, and I clicked
You're
on
like
it,
you have to.
and I have not stopped listening to it since. Like I've
Really?
listened to it
Okay,
multiple times every day for like the past 2 weeks.
that's amazing.
It's just such a the chords on it, uh, are just they're so good, and the writing,
Mhm,
it's just a track about falling out of love with somebody,
mhm.
but man, like the chorus, it's so well written. I mean, that guy's one of my favorite writers ever. So
Yeah,
yeah.
he is a
So
phenomenal writer.
that's like a bonus one. But
Okay.
um, I did have White Ferrari,
Mhm.
and this was very hard.
Yeah.
Uh, White Ferrari, I think, like, emotionally, is just wrecks me more than any other Frank Ocean song.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
The
I
the
had to put
emotion
that
in
one
that
there.
song is
Yes,
so good. Yeah.
devastating.
Mhm.
Um, then I went with another one off Blonde, Self Control,
Mhm.
which
Great
for me,
track.
which really does that one is the crescendos on the outro. The
Yeah,
no, you gotta leave. Like, oh, the
yeah.
crescendos on that part,
I know. That
and
is
also like the additional vocalists on the chorus too, which
mm,
everyone thinks is Young Lean, but I'm pretty certain it's not Young Lean. uh,
interesting. I didn't know that people thought it
but
was Young Lean, that's funny.
oh, dude, that's like been the biggest like lie about Blonde forever is that Young Lean is the vocalist on that does like that chorus part
Really?
on Self
Okay.
Control. But I believe it's some guy named Austin, and I have the credits for the like original Blonde record, and he
Mhm.
is not. Young Lean is not listed
Sure.
um on that track.
Yeah.
Young Lean is listed on Godspeed,
Okay.
from what I
Mm.
understand.
Yeah,
But yeah.
interesting.
So yeah. So Self Control. Then I went with Endless Tracks, which I feel like Endless uh, I feel like you cannot complain about a new Frank Ocean album if you have never heard Endless in its full CDQ entirety. That is my
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sure.
but Rush is just another one that the writing just I think it might be maybe Frank's best written song, and
Mm,
like the way he incorporates different ways of Rush of like the word Rush onto that
mhm,
song.
mhm.
Like I don't understand how he does it. I just don't understand how he writes the way that he does.
Yeah.
Um, So I went with that, and then I went with another one off of Endless Higgs,
Mm,
um, which eh, another one about relationships and
mhm,
um, I think kind of like the peace that comes with it. Uh, but yeah, and vocals on there's like a vocal bit at the end that I just absolutely love. And then I had to go with one off Channel Orange because I feel like I
mm,
had to pick a track off there. I think my favorite track on Channel Orange is probably Crack Rock.
mm.
Uh,
Yeah, great track.
the perspective in which he writes from that track is always done it for me. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
those are the five if I had to pick five.
if you had to
No
say yeah,
particular order.
yeah. The
It's
order's
tough.
really tough. The order's really
Yes,
tough.
and there's so many songs I could have picked off Blonde too, man. Like
Yeah,
Ivy,
yeah.
Pink and White,
Mhm.
Siegfried.
Yeah,
So many
I
great
really
ones, and
like Siegfried. That's probably that would probably be in my 5, I think. But yeah, it's also kinda tough too because, like, Frank well, maybe I guess maybe it's a little easier where he doesn't have as large of a
as much
discography, but,
albums.
um, so as a huge Frank Ocean fan, what do you think? Is he ever gonna release new music?
So have you heard like the stuff that's been going on over the past couple of days with
No, not
like
the couple days,
oh
no.
really? Okay, so no. So apparently Frank Ocean fans think he's dropping something because somehow they found an account, a Finsta account that they think is him
Mm,
because it's followed by only 6 people,
sure.
and he's one of them. SZA is one of them.
Mm,
I believe his engineer or his producer is another, and like some two other accounts they somehow
yeah.
found, and they have convinced themselves that this is Frank.
Uh-huh.
And obviously he has been teasing music. Like he
Yeah.
did that. I don't know if you heard that snippet that he did for that he had in a UFC fighter Peyton
Yeah,
a
I heard that,
video,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like a 30-second snippet. It's went super viral, like
Mhm.
just 30 seconds of it, and
Yeah,
I think the 30 seconds of it is excellent.
yeah,
But
totally.
so that's what leading people think he might be dropping something. I pretty much stopped anticipating a Frank album years ago at this
Mm,
point. Like I just don't care anymore.
yeah,
Uh, if it drops, hell yeah, I'm excited,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm just not anticipating it.
yeah.
I'm not going to get my hopes up when there's so much other great music being released
Mm,
every week. So
sure.
if it happens, it
Totally.
happens. But yeah,
Mhm.
I think Frank Ocean's fans are just desperate at this point, and they're just kind of
Yeah.
trying to latch on to
Yeah.
anything.
Well, and he also plays into it. Like he posts, a story or like what like he or not maybe not him, but
Yeah, he'll
people
post
will
a
post
story every 6 months.
yeah, like something will get posted. I remember last year sometime or maybe even 2 years ago, like somebody, maybe it was him, maybe it was somebody else posted like he was like laying on the ground playing a keyboard or something. People like lost their
Yeah, no,
mind.
I think he did post that on his story.
Okay, yeah.
He's posted a few snippets on his story over the past 2 or 3 years of
Yeah.
music and him in the studio and stuff like that. But I just, yeah, I mean, I don't. I'm until it's out.
Mhm.
I I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, and it's like I would agree with that. Like even though, I love Frank Ocean, it's like it's gotten to the point where you're just like, why would I keep my hopes up? Like he's been stringing us along for so long, but um yeah, that's a great list. What about Bjork songs? Do you have a 5 of
Okay.
them?
Yeah. So for the Bjork songs, I decided to do it one per album
Okay.
because I think Post is like the probably my favorite Bjork album.
Mm.
It changes every once in a while, but for a
Yeah.
while now it's been Post. So I just didn't want to have a bunch of songs on Post. So I
Yeah,
just kind
yeah,
of went
yeah.
I just kind of went with individual tracks off each
Mm,
record, one
mhm.
per. So the first one, which I think might be my all-time favorite Bjork song, is Hyper Ballad.
Okay, yes.
Just like the weird electronic
Mm.
instrumentation on that one, I've always loved, and I think it's one of Bjork's best vocal performances.
Yeah,
Um,
it's definitely gotta be
and
up
she,
there for sure.
I've always loved her cadence and her weird delivery. It's always just been what made her so stand out to me. And I think that
Yeah.
one in particular always has stood out to me the most.
Mhm.
Then after that, I went with the opening track off Vespertine, Hidden Place.
Mm.
Just the wacky sample work on on that song is incredible. And I think it is probably Björk's best opening track on any of
Mm.
her projects. But yeah, the weird ass samples have always I just always thought was super cool.
Yeah, she just loves to push boundaries with stuff, like, and just,
Yes.
like, kind of change your perception on what you thought was normal. Like, she's just like, "Yeah, you think that this is the normal way to use samples? Well, like, here you go." And then you're like, "Whoa, this is really cool. I love this." Like,
Yeah, like
but
the children choir bit on that part, like and
Mhm.
SZA, I believe, sampled it for her last record too, which I thought was
Yeah,
really dope.
yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, I have Joga, which is off
Mhm,
Homogenic.
mhm,
I think it's
mhm.
the second track on that record. Um, yeah, oh, the string arrangements on there are
Yeah,
actually damn near make me cry every time. Like they
yeah.
are gorgeous. And yeah, just another really solid vocal performance. But it's really the string arrangements that have always done it for me on that song.
Yeah, it
Um,
sets the tone in a way that yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I mean
She
that's
the
like
way
to
she
me one of
scored it is
Björk's like most luscious and beautiful records.
yeah. Yeah, she was really,
Um,
really pushing it with that one.
yeah, and then I went with Lion Song off her
Mhm,
2015 record, Volnicura, which is just emotionally heartbreaking because that record is pretty much her breakup record. I
mhm,
think she was going through a divorce at that time, and that whole
yeah,
album, writing wise, is super heartbreaking.
mhm,
And that one in particular was like written in the perspective of her knowing this relationship is not going well, and
mhm,
it's the writing on there is just so devastating.
yeah, yeah,
And then
uh,
for my last one, I actually have a pretty recent one, Oral, which was like a Lucy single she dropped like a few years ago with Rosalia on it.
oh, okay.
Um, which is interesting because Björk doesn't like do that many collaborations ever.
Mhm. No,
Um,
no,
and she just kind of like randomly dropped this track out of nowhere a few years back. And I just think her and Rosalia are like the perfect match. Like obviously Rosalia
mhm,
is very inspired by
yeah,
Björk.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, I mean, both of their voices together. And I believe it's like older Bjork vocals too, like pre-recorded older era Bjork vocals,
mhm,
which is cool. But
yeah,
it somehow works phenomenally. And
yeah,
yeah, just super super pretty track, man.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if I'm trying to picture that track. I don't know, maybe I missed that one. I'll have to go
yeah.
and check it out.
It kind of dropped at like the end of the year. I think it was 2023. But
Really?
it
Okay.
was one of my favorite songs of that year.
Wow.
It's a beautiful track, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and see,
Definitely do.
if I missed that one or if I'm just not having a hard time remembering it. But yeah, the Bjork is like, how do you describe like the influence, like just so influential in music and like so, um, just like I said before, like just pushing the boundaries on everything. Like that was her that was basically what she it seemed like that's what she wanted to do all the time. Like she
Yeah,
wasn't satisfied if she wasn't doing something along those lines. And like yeah, just so so impactful and so like in tune with how to really translate emotion into a song. And
yeah,
some people are just like they just are naturally like gifted at that, and Bjork is one of those people. Like you just kind of, it always amazes me when I listen to her stuff. Like how does she capture emotion in this way? That
To me, like one of the most insane records she ever did. I forgot which one it was, but it was later on in her career where the instrumentals on the record were literally just her voice.
mm,
Like that is just such
yeah,
a weirdly creative thing to do.
yeah, totally.
Especially that deep into your career. Yeah, she's just always pushing the boundaries. And like you said, one of the most influential, like the Twigs record, which is one of my favorite albums this year too.
Mhm.
Super
Yeah,
Bjork inspired,
absolutely. Yeah,
vocally for sure.
yeah.
I think Caroline Polachek, which is another one of my favorite voices.
Mhm.
Obviously, her weirdness, super
Yep.
Bjork coded. Obviously, Rosalia, I just mentioned.
Mhm.
Bjork influenced heavy. So
Yeah.
yeah, one of the most influential and important pop artists ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, and, like, I feel like I think she gets I I feel like she's maybe a little underrated, like, maybe under the radar, maybe people don't give her as much credit as she should, and maybe it's just that I'm not in that scene enough to know, but, like, I feel like people don't hold her as like, critically, yes, but I guess maybe just, like, the mainstream, like, she kind of is shrouded
Yeah.
a little bit,
Well,
like
yeah. I mean, I think she was never a mainstream artist. Like she was
yeah,
never commercially appealing just because she
mhm,
was so experimental with her music. So that's the reason why. But
absolutely.
for someone who never like conformed to popular sounds or tried to go for a hit song, I think she gets her flowers, definitely. I mean, she's definitely a very online artist, I feel like.
Yeah, yeah, true,
But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, so for some of the biggest pop artists now, I think definitely show a lot of love for her, which is great. I
Mhm.
don't know. I feel like over time she's continuing and growing, getting a growing amount of love, which I love to see.
Yeah, yeah, it's almost like she's kinda gaining this recognition maybe a little bit past, like, because she's not putting a ton of stuff out recently, so, like,
Yeah,
gaining this recognition kinda past her I don't wanna say prime, but you know what I mean, past, like, when she
yeah.
was really in the forefront of things.
Yeah.
Um
I mean, I wasn't crazy about her the last album that she put out. It was probably my least favorite from her.
Mm.
But I mean, the album that she put out in like 2016, Utopia was really solid. I think she's still capable of making a great record too.
Oh,
I don't
totally,
know if
yeah.
she's gonna drop anytime soon, or if she does.
Yeah,
But the
for
longevity
sure.
that she has had, not many other artists have had.
Mm, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Last, let's do Charlie XCX songs
Mm. So this one I also did one per album.
for
I try
okay.
to make it
Nice.
specifically one per album.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll just start with Brat, which
Mhm.
honestly I think the more I think about it, the more I listen, I think it is my favorite Charlie record.
Mm.
And if I had to pick a singular track off that, it'd probably be Everything Is Romantic.
Yeah.
Like the
Good track.
strings that start off
Mhm.
that song are
Mhm.
so pretty, and then it just goes into that wild house beat, and the lyrics are like so simple but so catchy and
Mhm.
so memorable.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's been my favorite over the past year.
Yeah.
Um, so if I had to pick one off, it would be that one. Vroom Vroom off the Vroom
Yeah.
Vroom EP. The
Yeah.
Sophie, I think that song is very important for Charlie,
Mhm.
and uh, her working with Sophie really kind of changed her artistic standpoint
Yeah.
after that.
Mhm.
But yeah, that the lyrics are just so fun and silly, and the Sophie beat is just insane. It is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Uh, Another one that I had for number three was the first single off her 2020 pandemic record,
Mhm.
um, which before Brat was probably my favorite Charlie record, Forever. Yeah, I mean that whole album to me really it might have been my most listened to record during the pandemic because it just perfectly encapsulated and perfectly it perfectly had what everyone felt during that time
Yeah.
during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And yeah, Forever, oh, the melody on there is just it's so good. It's so good. Uh and then I went with track 2 off Pop 10 because I do think that is
Mhm.
one of Charlie's strongest hooks ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that, I think. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
strong.
And then and then lastly, number 5, I went with White Mercedes off her
Mhm.
self-titled Charlie record, which to me is one of her best ballads.
Yeah.
I think
That's
one of the
huge.
best ballads she maybe ever wrote.
Yeah. That's a huge I really White Mercedes is one of my favorite of hers for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
It's very good. What did you like, did you appreciate her remixed Brat? Like, were you really into
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. I thought she did a remix album the right way. Like I think more
Yeah.
people need to take notes from her. Because a lot
Mhm.
of people these days when they make a remix song, they'll just like slap a feature on it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like look, maybe she like went all out and like changed the production and even
Yeah.
changed the one thing I loved about that is that it was obviously written after Brat blew up and her
Mhm.
success kind of skyrocketed. And a
Mhm.
lot of the songs are written in the perspective of how she's feeling post kind of blowing up and everything
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
which I love. But I just also liked how she changed a lot of the production choices throughout
Yeah,
it,
she did, yeah.
which is probably how a remix should be done. But even if you're not gonna do that, she in the songs where she didn't change up the
Mhm.
production, she at least added completely new verses, which like people
Yeah.
these days don't even do. They'll just again, like I said, they'll just slap a feature on. They won't even add a
Yeah.
new verse or a new interpolation of something. Like
Yeah.
so, yeah. I thought she. I think people should take notes and for what she
Yeah.
did with that remix project.
Yeah, and I thought it was, like you said, just, like, totally unique and different, and, like, she obviously put a ton of effort into that record, and it wasn't like it and another I think, kinda close to that time, Noah Kahan, like, released like, a bunch of remixes of his, Stick Season album or whatever, and it just felt, like, so opposite. Like,
Yeah,
I
dude,
thought
that
his
guy put
features
out
were
like
pretty good.
15 different. That guy put out like 15 different deluxes for that album
I know,
that I
he's
couldn't even
well
keep up. So
yeah,
I don't know.
it feels like Stick Season, he's been riding that for 20 years, but, yeah,
Yeah, I feel like there's
it
like
just
18
felt
different
so
versions of that.
it felt so different because his was pretty much just what you said. I think he did change, a little bit of it lyrically for a couple of them, but for the most part, it was just like, yeah, slapping on those features, and both of them blew up kind of in a like kind of a similar time-ish. So I just thought like
Yeah.
the care and the intentionality that Charlie had toward her remix album was just like was amazing. Like as a fan, as somebody that is like likes when artists put out new music, even if it is a deluxe or a remix, like, she went above and beyond. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, and it was I think yeah, because sometimes you almost feel like an artist at times is, like, just trying to ride the wave of the popularity of something by and then, they release an album, it's really popular, then they release some remixes, they release, like, a deluxe, and, like, you kind of feel like it's all a little sloppy and they're just trying to ride that wave, but, like, with Charlie, it was totally different. You're just like, "Wow,
Yeah, I mean
she's, like."
the marketing behind Brad was just brilliant. Like
Yeah,
it
it
was
was.
just
Yeah.
perfectly executed, the
Yeah,
rollout of that
absolutely.
album.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, an amazing album, amazing remix album. Yeah. Well, we've been going for a while, so I think we're gonna stop it here. Really
Okay.
appreciated having you on. This was a lot of fun. Talked about a lot of great stuff. I don't know if I'll talk to anybody about Bjork ever again on the pod. Like I feel like
Damn.
that's
I
well,
hope
I
that's not
hope
the
I
case,
do. I
man.
hope I do.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I
Hope
just
you
I
get
was
that.
really excited when I saw Bjork as one of your favorite artists because I was like, this is cool. Like we're gonna talk about
Yeah.
somebody that I don't think a whole lot of people would maybe talk about. Yeah, but I had a lot of fun. I'm super
Yeah.
appreciative that you came on,
Thank you for having
and
me. I
yeah,
had fun, man. I
hopefully
definitely
we
want to do this
can do
again.
it.
This was
Yeah, yeah,
hell
we'll
yeah,
do it.
hell yeah.
We'll do it again. Maybe in 20 years when Frank releases his next album, we'll we'll hop on.
You joke, but that's more than likely the reality. That's more than likely the reality.
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, guys, if you are on TikTok, Instagram, follow Mike T. Are you is it sometimes the real Mike T or is it always just Mike
Yeah, no,
T?
I have like a few handles on everything. So I think on TikTok it's real Mike T. Most of the other socials are it's Mike T.
Okay.
Twitch is it's Mike T.
Okay.
Instagram it's Mike T. YouTube, I think if you just look up Mike underscore T, it will pop up.
Yeah. So follow him. He's always putting out great stuff. He's always got just awesome reactions and, reviews of new music. So check him out. And stay tuned for next another episode. We're gonna have another guest on and we'll see you next week.